Yes. These are Hindi bhajans.
This is 197.
These are Hindi
Page 197.
You feel right at home with
mercy on me and accept me as your own. I have taken shelter of you. Please give me a place at your lotus feet. Your name is repository of compassion. Kindly shower me with that. O Master, rouse my sleeping fortune. My boat is caught in the whirlpool. Kindly rescue it.
You are the ocean of happiness and shelter for bhakti. You are dearer to me than my life and always on my mind. I chant your name every day. Please ignore my faults.
I am the servant of the Vaishnava and of the lotus feet of my Guru. Please do not forget me because I am all alone. O Lord, I am a beggar at your door. Please do not ignore me.
What's the saying? Duranga. Nitai Gaur. Some bhajan.
Parama karuna Nitai Gaura Chandra
Ganesh, do you want to sing? Radha?
Yeah.
What? Sing?
Radha Krishna Bhajan.
Anybody have
About Brahma.
what?
No,
Oh, Manasukakani. Yes, I do know that.
What page? What is it?
366 and this one, I'm not sure.
What's the name of the song?
What's the page?
198.
What page?
If you got hard vinyl, it's 198.
366. We have this, but it's 249.
Did you find it?
Yeah. Braja Jana Mana Sikahari.
Any other cards?
Oh, yeah.
Are there any cards? Shama Shama Shama
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
dance did you say?
We did the whole
We did everything.
we did.
Yeah, but
Which one's
Which
last?
one? Guru Kripa Karke, Parama Karuna, and song by Narayan,
wow.
and then a kirtan.
Okay. And then can you put some true power? Reach there? Do you want the Madonna? Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tushe Namaha Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangasta Parshatam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayair Yajanti Sumera Saha. Everyone. Ainandatanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavambudo Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Shtita Duli Sadrisham Vichintaya Nayanam Galada Sudharaya Vadanam Gadgadarudaya Gira Pulakai Nichitam Bapukada Tavanam Grahani Bhavishyati Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga
धाम की जय, श्री श्री गौर नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय, जय गौर प्रेमानंदे। So, out of intense love, the arms of this chair are embracing me too tightly to play mridanga. So, I have to move forward a little bit. Okay, that's better. Now I can move. So by the myself, Navadip Dham, and C.C. Gaurnitai, now we remember the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Koshika Nadrag. Radha Madhava Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
So I'm most delighted to come here to the Bhajan Kutir of Ananda Gopal Das. And especially I'm overjoyed to see my most dear Govinda Dasi and Ram Das Prabhu. Because without them I would not be here. They are the root cause of all my services here in North Carolina. Without them I would not be here at all. So I'm eternally grateful and eternally indebted to them. Nama Shrestha Manamapi Asachiputram Atasurupam Rupam Tasyagrajamuri Purim Maturim Gostuvaratim Radha Kundamagiribaram Ahoradika Madhvasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Guru Tam Natosmi Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaye Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Nama Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hema Baddivyacchavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Bihina Aparada Lakshe Chilkasta Kamaditoram Kamadi Vibhamayikam Sharanam Prapadam Vrindenumase Charanarvindam Vrindenumase Charanarvindam Govinda Namo Govinda Damo Sundar Shikanda Shikar Smaha Samurali Manohara Radhikar Sukamama Kripanidhe Supriya Chana King Kurim Kuru Tavaivasmi Na Jivami Tayabina Iti Vigyaya Devi Tam Nayamaham Charantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev. Asmadya Paramaradatam Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Parvishta Om Vishnu Pad Ashtotarasata Sisimad Rupanuga Acharyavarya Sila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, and to our entire Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all my dear brothers and sisters, all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis.
Haribo!
So by the causeless mercy of Sri Gauranga Gauranga, we have been hearing the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. Haribo! Oh, you're supposed to give it to him.
Oh, to him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We'll start when the garland pastimes are over.
Is that the one?
Yeah. Are we ready?
Please.
Now sit still. You can breathe, not more than that. Please, listen very attentively. By the causeless mercy of Sri Gauranga Gauranga, we have been hearing the nectar of Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Yesterday we began to discuss the Jivan charitra, the life history, and the character of Bharata Maharaja. So as you know, some of you were not here yesterday, we'll make a brief recap or summary. Bharata Maharaja was one of the 100 sons of Lord Rishabdev. And before Lord Rishabdev left his kingdom and went to the forest, he instructed his sons about the purpose of human life. That our life is only meant for the cultivation of realization of God, not for anything else. So when his father went to the forest, Bharata Maharaja became king, he performed his worldly obligations and worldly duties, but absorbed in Krishna consciousness. His heart was imbued with Vishuddha Sattva, transcendental existence. This world, everything here, is a transformation of the Trigun, the three qualities of material nature, Prakriti. Tribi gunamaye bhave ebi sarvam idam jagat mohitam nabhijanati mamebhya paramabhyayam. It may be that in the course of your life, now and then you meet people who are not Krishna conscious. Is it correct? Hmm? They don't believe in God. They think, where is evidence of God? But in Gita, Sri Krishna is saying, Tribhir guna maya bhavai. This is a very simple thing. All the manifestations of this world, the bodies and minds and thoughts even, of every individual, they are only the oscillations, the interactions of three gunas. And Sri Krishna, he exists. He is Trigun Atit, beyond these qualities of material nature. So, by his grace, by his transcendental service, Mamto yabhya vicharena bhakti yogena sevite sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. If a living entity being in this world and being absorbed in the three gunas, they take shelter of their spiritual master and under the guidance of Guru engage in the angas of bhakti yoga, hearing, chanting and remembering, gradually, then tadara justamo bhava kamalo bhadyasche cheta eta anavidam stitam sattve prasidati, means that the effect of tamagun, anger, laziness will go away. The effect of rajagun, confusion and worldly desires and attachments will go away. Sattvagun will come. Sattvagun is also conditioning. And gradually, his consciousness will also go beyond sattvagun. Stitam sattve prasidati, and that means his consciousness becomes absorbed in the Vishuddha Sattva Swarupa of Krishna, that he sees in the core of his heart. Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Guna Swarupam. Shama Sundar Krishna, playing his flute with all his inconceivable attributes. So, don't have any doubt. Conditioned souls, they have no pure knowledge, they cannot understand anything. But in Shastra and our Guru Pada Padma, our spiritual master, and enlightened sadhus, they have realization. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshenti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. Those who have seen the Parama Tattva. Krishnera Surupa Vicha Suno Sanatan Advaya Jnana Paratattva Braje Brajendanandan. That eternal, supreme, transcendental reality is Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, in Vrindavan. So they have seen. And they know how to engage us, that we can transcend the influence of the material energy and attain the lotus feet and eternal service of Sri Krishna. So, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryangsu Samyabhat Ruchi Vischitamasrinyat Kridaso Bhav Uchate. By practicing sadhana, our sadhana, our daily practice, does not produce bhav, this ecstatic emotion. Only it makes the heart a suitable receptacle for the appearance of that eternally perfect love. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam vriddhi sadyata. The eternal associates of Krishna, they have perfect, very spontaneous and tender love for Shri Krishna. And that love is the vilas of Swarup Shakti, the play of Krishna's internal potency. And when the devotee in this world is daily doing sadhana, gradually, as the anarthas, unwanted desires and misconceptions clear, then from the hearts of the eternal associates, that comes and is reflected into our hearts and makes us very anxious, very eager. Ruchivis chitamasrinya. The heart is melted by 3 types of ruchi. What is that? Bhagavat Prapt Abhilas. I want to attain the Lord. And Anukul Abhilas. I want to render some service which is exactly favorable for the Lord, by which He'll become very favorable to me. And so are the Abhilas. It is not enough only to attain Krishna and render favorable service, but that our heart should be connected in a firm and unbreakable friendship. So when the heart is melting with these desires, by the influence of the Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, this stage is called Bhav. And all of our sadhana is to get that. If after so many years you're doing sadhana and the heart is that hard, like a thunderbolt, then what was the use? And sadhana is meant to make the heart soft, liquid, full of rasa. Rasa means liquid also. Very, very soft. So if the heart is not becoming soft, then there must be some aparad. Tadasmasaram hridayam batejam yagriyamana harinamadeha navikritetat yada vikaro netre jalam gat ruheshu harsha. Shukdev Goswami said, that heart is harder than a thunderbolt. That does not melt. That does not cause that devotee to shed tears and the hairs of his body stand on end, despite chanting the sweet and very relishable and delicious names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With concentration. If a person is chanting with concentration, Evam Vrataswa Priyanama Kirtya Jatano Rago Druta Chitta Uchchay, the heart must melt. Krishna Nama Mahamantra Eito Subhav Jai Jape Tare Krishna Upajay Bhav. Srila Ishwar Puri told Mahaprabhu, oh, don't worry, you have not become crazy. This is the nature of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If anyone will repeat it without offense, then this bhav, ecstatic sentiments for Sri Krishna, they naturally are awakened. So, we see that Bharata Maharaja, his heart was purified by his practice of bhakti and the performance of his prescribed duties without attachment, offering the result of all his worldly duties to the Lord. And so, he was overwhelmed with eagerness to attain full perfection. So though he was young and powerful and wealthy and had everything, he left all things and went to the forest. And there he was practicing his sadhana by mantra, worshipping Supreme Lord Vasudev in the sun. And he was experiencing great ecstasy. But still, we heard yesterday how a deer, a baby deer, that was drowning in the river, he felt compassion. That is Sattvic Doya. Sattvic Doya. The desire to help others is of Sattva Gun. So, there's no harm if devotees express Sattvic Doya, compassion for others. In fact, our Jagat Guru Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said if there's a hungry person, homeless person, starving, suffering person, sick person, devotees, they should not walk by with their nose in the air saying, oh, everything is karma. And if I help him, it will not be pure bhakti. Anyavilasta shunyam jnana kamaktanavritam. Anukulyena krishnanushanam bhakti uttama. Don't think like that. Otherwise, the heart will become very hard. Give them something, help them. But don't become attached. Once, in the Gaudiya Math, there was a garden and the devotees were growing vegetables for the deities. And one day a thief was in the garden at night stealing the deities' vegetables. So the devotees caught him, they captured him, and they brought their prisoner before the emperor, Srila Prabhupada, to decide what would be a suitable punishment. Srila Prabhupada said, why are you stealing in the garden of Thakurji? He said, oh, just now the many farmers, their crops have failed and food is scarce and my family is very poor. I was taking for my family. So then Srila Prabhupada said, oh, all right. And then he told the devotees, open the gate of the garden and invite all the villagers who have shortages. They can come and take whatever they want. So, it's not unfavorable for devotees to show kindness in a worldly sense to the living beings in general. Especially those who are grihastha. They can do it. They should do it. And also, another important point is, because we are the servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, we want to spread his message of divine love and his inconceivable and indescribable endless mercy. However, the conditioned souls in general cannot understand the nature of transcendental mercy. They only understand material mercy. So in order for the pracha, for the preaching, that they have a nice impression, favorable towards devotees, so they'll come. They'll glorify devotees are so nice. And they may associate with devotees and hear their kirtans and so on, and be benefited transcendentally. So, some sattvic doya, mercy in the mode of goodness, it can be done for the sake of that paramartic, transcendental goal. So, there was no fault in Bharata Maharaja in saving that baby deer. But the problem is that he became attached. This is the problem. And yesterday we discussed how when we meet someone or some object to which we become attached, then this is our prarabdha karma. It is the reactions of karma. Prarabdha karma is the karma we experience in this life. From when we're born until we die, this is prarabdha karma. But Bharata Maharaja, he was already in the stage of bhav. He had surpassed the stage of sadhana, and in the stage of sadhana, all this karma is finished. But there is the prarabdha abhas, a semblance of prarabdha in the stage of bhav that the Supreme Lord can give to his devotee in order to make him become more desperate, more humble. And so when Bharata Maharaja became attached to the deer, and then that life was over, being absorbed in the deer, then he came in the body of the deer, and he was criticizing himself, condemning himself, lamenting and repenting bitterly. Alas, alas! What happened to me? My father was a great personality. He left everything and went to the forest and set the example of how to attain perfection. And look at me. What have I done? I left everything, went to the forest, and became attached to a pet. And now I lost the human form of life and I've become in an animal body. How despicable. How foolish. And he criticized himself very intensely. So, then we know that in that life also he did austerities. And quickly it passed, and in his next life, now he was born in the family of Brahmanas, in the line of Angira Rishi. And though his father tried to educate him, and though he was very qualified, he was very strong, healthy, handsome, but he acted like a deaf and dumb, foolish person to avoid any interaction with anyone in that life. But because of this experience, the way that Sri Krishna had put him into, humiliated him so much, he became so humble. There's a relationship between humility and prema. Sanatana Goswami Pad said, Karya Karam ape Paraspara Karya Kara, they are mutually cause and effect of each other. When the devotee has prema, love, this makes his humility increase. And when his humility increases, his humility makes his prema increase. They're cause and effect. So, now in this life, due to this experience, this mercy of the Lord, his body was completely spiritual, eternal, indestructible. And he was absorbed in prema. So when one day he was guarding the fields like a human scarecrow, keeping away the wild animals as a service ordered by his brothers, some dacoits we heard yesterday how they captured him and tried to offer him as a human sacrifice to Kali, Bhadrakali. But he did not resist, he was not fighting. He felt no fear, he felt no enmity towards those who were about to decapitate him. Why? Because he has no ahankar, no ego at all. Try to consider what it means to be situated in transcendence. And try to consider where we are now. How different it is. Only putting on a tilak and tulsi beads and walking around in a sheet does not make you transcendental. We want, by our daily gradual practice of sadhana and mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas, to actually come in the stage of transcendental realization. So he was unaffected. He had feelings of friendship to everyone. And though when they were about to kill him, Kali burst out from the deity and destroyed them all. And said, "You are a great Vaishnava." Bhadrakali spoke to him. Out of kindness, compassion for the people of the world, don't hide yourself anymore. Reveal yourself to give mercy to others. Because Krishna's mercy comes through the Vaishnavas. Sadanugraho Bhavan. Vaishnavas, Supreme Lord is called Sadanugraha. That means who gives mercy to the Vaishnavas, not to anyone else. Krishna's mercy doesn't go to everyone. It goes to those who are advanced in bhakti, whose hearts are already imbued with Swarup Shakti. Because Krishna himself, his Swarup, is transcendental and he relates with his Swarup Shakti, not with the Maya Shakti. So Krishna only relates to the devotees in whose heart Swarup Shakti has appeared, not with others. So his mercies to the devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam. It doesn't say Paritranaya mudhanam. I come to this world to deliver ignorant and stupid people. Krishna didn't say it. Paritranaya sadhunam, those who are already imbued with the divine potency, he relates to them. And they relate to us. Not to you, but to Mudha like me. Foolish, ignorant persons, the pure Vaishnavas, they relate to us. Not Krishna directly. So Sadhanugraha means he whose mercy comes through the Vaishnavas. And Sadhanugraha means, Sad is the Vaishnava. Means he whose mercy is the Vaishnavas. So samsara davanala lidaloka trayana karunya ganaganatvam. Krishna is the ocean of mercy, yes. But we are in the desert. So we cannot touch that ocean. But that evotion, the water of that ocean condenses in the form of a cloud, and the cloud comes to us and rains down mercy. That cloud is Sri Guru. So Bhadra Kali prayed, "Oh Mahatmaji, don't hide yourself. If you will hide yourself, then how will the living entities be delivered? It will be impossible." So then he was wandering on the bank of the Ikshumati river, and at that time there was a king named Maharaj Rahugan, and he was being carried on a palanquin by his palanquin bearers. He was the king of Sindh and Sovir. So the palanquin bearers were carrying him, but they needed to recruit an extra carrier. So they were looking here and there, and they saw this young, strong person, looks a bit crazy. And they caught him, and by force they engaged him in carrying the palanquin. So yesterday we came to this point. End of the summary. Now we begin today's class. This is our verse for today, but it will come a little bit later. The palanquin bearers were carrying the palanquin. The king was riding on the palanquin, and he was a good king. He was a pious king. He was mainly in sattva gun, though he would be prone to occasional outbursts of rajas due to the nature of his duties that he was engaged in the world. He was on his way to Kapil Ashram. He wanted to meet Kapil Muni. He wanted to learn about, he was inquisitive about transcendental life. So Jad Bharat was carrying the palanquin, but he was very careful not to step on any ants. So his steps were going out of time, and the palanquin was rocking, and the king was shaking. So he put his head out and said, "Hey, look, carry me very, very smoothly, please. Thank you." So they continued to walk. Again it was rocking. Again. "What's going on here?" The palanquin carriers came. "Your Majesty, we are not inattentive. And we are trying to do our duty to the best of our ability. But this new person who has joined us, he won't keep in time. He won't keep in step." So then the king looked at him. He said, "Oh, my dear friend, how difficult your life must be. How many difficulties you're undergoing. Because you've just been carrying this palanquin for so far." He just joined them a few minutes earlier. "You've been carrying it so far on such a long journey. And it's clear that you're not very strong. You're so weak and skinny." He was built like an ox. "You're so weak and skinny and decrepit with old age. So, perhaps it's not your fault. Perhaps the others are not cooperating with you. Is that the problem?" So he spoke to him in a very sarcastic way. He said, "Anyway, now carry it properly. Otherwise I'll punish you like Yamaraj gives punishment. Because I am the king. And you are my subjects, so you should obey me." So then, Jad Bharat, he didn't give a reply. Didn't say anything. Think about that. We're hearing this, why? Because we want to be purified by the Jivan charitra, by the divine qualities of Bharata Maharaja. So you can just recall, think for a few moments, the last time anyone rebuked you with sarcastic words. And you remember how you stood there in silence. Perhaps you gave a mild smile and continued with your activities. No, if someone speaks to us disrespectfully, or to speak of disrespect, even if we detect the slight fragrance of the sense of attitude that we may not be fully perfect, then the ego becomes activated. But Bharata Maharaj, he's free from two things, which are signs of the ego: ahamta and mamta. Ahamta means I-ness, and mamta means my-ness. So, he has no my-ness for this body. We think this body is mine. Respect it. But he has no my-ness for this body at all. He's aloof. He's beyond. He's a witness of what the body is doing from a vantage point far above. How can we become free from mamta to the body? By giving all our mamta to Krishna. Instead of investing our sense of possessiveness in worldly objects, we invest all of our possessiveness in Krishna. Krishna, you are mine. You are mine and only you are mine. Nothing else is mine. That Vaishnava is called Akinchan, Nishkinchan. They have nothing. Nothing in this world they think belongs to them. But some things belongs. Krishna belongs to me. So all his mamta was in Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. And his ahamta also, he does not have for this worldly body, but he, for the sake of dealing with others, sometimes he would superimpose, he would do a rope of ahamta onto the body, just for the sake of dealing with others. So then they were carrying again, and again the palanquin was rocking. The king said, okay, that's it. You. Are you dead while still living? What's wrong with you? So then, Jad Bharat, he spoke to the king. He was smiling, very mildly smiling. He was not offended in any way. He didn't take any offense. He said, all of what you have said actually was not sarcasm. It would only be sarcasm if I were actually carrying this palanquin. But I am not. I am not tired from carrying this palanquin because I am not carrying this palanquin. This is not my journey and this is not my destination. What does that mean? Because of his intense humility, which comes from praying, from love for Krishna. He's thinking that all these activities which are going on in my life, this is just the last remaining remnants of my prarabdha karma. So I'm not involved in that, but I'll just let it go on. That's why he's carrying the palanquin. That this is the remnant of my prarabdha. Actually, he has no prarabdha karma. He has prema. But prema makes one humble. And one who is humble thinks, oh, I am not perfect, I am far from perfect. But let my prarabdha karma work itself out and I'll wait till one day Krishna will accept me. So, this is not my journey. I am not carrying this palanquin. This is not my destination. You have implied that I am not fat or strong. And it's true. I am not fat, I am not skinny. All these things pertaining to the body, happiness and distress, disease, suffering, enjoyment, these have nothing to do with me. Because I am Atma. You have told me, are you dead while living? I say, yes I am. But I'm not the only one. Everyone is like the walking dead. Actually. Krishna said, Yantra Rudani Mayaya. This material body is a machine. Caused to move like a puppet moves by the strings. This body is like a machine, and the strings of the three gunas are making it move. So everybody, the body is never alive and the soul is never dead. Only when the soul is present in the body, then by the presence of the soul, the pran is activated. And then the pran animates the body and it looks like it's alive. But actually, the soul is never dead and the body is never truly alive. So are you dead while living? Yes, I am. But who isn't? We all are. You say that you punish me because you are the king. But I never see that one person is the master and one person is the servant. It's not true. Why? Sometimes in Vedic culture there's a kind of hierarchy, right? So the Brahmana serves the king, and the Vaishyas serve the king serves the Brahmanas, and the Vaishyas serve the king, and the Sudras serve the Vaishyas, like that. And the ladies serve their husbands and all of these things. So sometimes someone thinks, oh, this hierarchy, this is not correct. But actually, there's no hierarchy. Actually, this is only in the mind. Bharata Maharaja is saying, I don't see that in this world, anyone is really servant of anyone else. Why? Because all are simply doing their duties according to their position in the gunas. For example, when the citizens are serving the king, they're not serving that person. That king is the representative of God. So their meditation is they're serving God. If a wife serves the husband, she's not serving the body, because when the body dies, it will be set on fire and burned to ash. But everyone has a mentality that whomever or whatever is the object of my service, that is Paramatma, the Supreme Lord. And so their duties are purifying meditation on their connection with God. And the Brahmanas also, though everyone, the king is serving them and everyone is serving them, but the Brahmanas they're serving God, always. Remembering their Brahma Gayatri, Om Bhur Bhuvahas, and meditating and always serving God. And instructing others how to do that also. So Bharata Maharaja said, I don't see that one is servant and master, because it can only be a real relation of servant and master if it's permanent. And everyone is changing. One day you're a king, and another day you're a beggar. One day you're a demigod, and another day you're an insect. Maybe there's some gap in between, but the living entities are rotating in this world. So he said, I only accept that a genuine relation of master and servant can be between those whose relationship is eternal. So the only relation of master and servant is between soul and Krishna. Jivera Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas. So you said that you would punish me. So we can say that you are king and I am your subject from a perspective of vyavahar. Vyavaharic perspective. That means just worldly conventions. So if we accept worldly conventions, which are not an absolute truth, then we can say, you are the king, I am the subject, then go ahead, punish me if you want. Your Majesty, I am here. Tell me what to do and apply punishment as you desire. But if I am an enlightened being, then what benefit will you get from punishing? And if I am really Jad, a crazy person, what benefit will you get from punishing me? Nothing. When you punish a crazy person, they become more crazy. It doesn't change them. So, Jad Bharat spoke in this way when the king heard these words. Oh, and then he just went back to the palanquin and he was ready to carry it. Why? Because he has praying, but he doesn't have the direct service of the Lord. That means he's not in the spiritual world, in his spiritual body, serving him. He has some awareness here, and in his meditation he sees the Lord. But he has not attained that, he's not in the stage of Vastu Siddhi, full perfection. And because he has not attained the Sakshat Seva, direct service of the Lord, therefore he is lamenting and overwhelmed with humility, overwhelmed with utkanta, eagerness. And due to that eagerness to attain perfection, eagerness to serve the Lord, and humility, so he's thinking, oh, I'm just a person in this world with prarabdha karma. Let me just go through these prarabdha karmas. So he went to take up the palanquin again. But the king realized, oh, he's not an ordinary person. He's a divine person who is hiding his nature from the world. So the king got down from the palanquin and fell at the feet of Jad Bharat. Who are you? Are you Kapil Dev? Are you one of the Navayogendras? Kavi Havi Antariksha Prabodha Pirpalayam? Chamasa Karabhajan? Durmila? Tell me, who are you? Narayan Rishi? Who are you? And please forgive me. I am not afraid of the thunderbolt of Indra. I am not afraid of the danda of Yamaraj, the Punisher at the time of death. I am not afraid of the trident of Lord Shiva. But I am afraid of making offense to a great Brahmin like yourself. Bharata Maharaja said, oh, have you heard of a king named Bharat? He said, yes. He was in my dynasty many years ago. And he retired and went to the forest to attain perfection. Jad Bharat said, I was that king. And he told him about his life experience. This is mercy. This is real mercy. My Gurudev said that generally a Vaishnava, they will hide their position and they will not openly tell to anyone what is their realization or how they became Siddha, how they became perfect. They will not say. But sometimes they may say. And there are many examples in Shat. This example, Jad Bharat told him how he attained his perfection. Just like in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narad Muni, he was very pleased with all the service that Srila Vyasadeva, his disciple, had done. But Vyasadeva was feeling some dissatisfaction. So to inspire him, Narad Muni told his own life history, how in his previous life he was the son of a maidservant, and how in the rainy season the great Vaishnavas, actually Chatusan, 4 Kumaras came, and he was engaged by his mother in serving them. How with their permission he took their remnants. And by taking their remnants, he attained a ruchi, taste in hearing their katha. And serving them and hearing their katha, the pravaha, the flow of the gunas in his consciousness was checked. How they gave him mantra. And when his mother passed away, he went to the forest. And he had darshan of the Supreme Lord. And how at the end of his life, then prayujamane mahitam shuddham bhagavatim tanum. Arabdha karma nirvano nyapatat panchabhotikaha. The effect of the mature energy on his body had completely, his prarabdha karma had completely disappeared, and in the last moment he attained a beautiful transcendental Swarup, suitable to be an associate of the Lord, which was unfettered, unbound, and could travel anywhere within the three worlds or even to Vaikuntha and back. So he described his perfection to Vyasadeva to inspire him. And he told him a mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Prajumnaya Anuruddhaya Sankarshanaya Namo Sankarshanaya Cha. This mantra to Krishna and the Chaturvyuha in Dwarka. Vasudeva, you see, it does, because it didn't say Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. It says Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshan. So this indicates, because this is not the Chaturvyuha Vaikuntha, because then it would be Vasudeva, Sankarshan. But it's Vasudeva, then Pradyumna, Aniruddha, because they're Krishna's son and grandson in Dwarka, and then his brother is mentioned afterwards, like this. So he gave this mantra, and then Vyas began to meditate, and he had the darshan of Krishna's Leela, and Srimad Bhagavatam was manifest. So it's a very special mercy when a pure Vaishnava speaks his own life experience. Apana bhajana kata na kohibo jatatata. Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, my own experience in bhajan, I will not speak here and there. Everything should be kept secret. Vacho vegam. Control the urge to speak. Confidential things regarding your own sadhan, don't speak to anyone. But dadati pratigrinati kuyam akiti prichiti bhungte bojayate chaiva sadvida pritilakshanam. In the exchange of affection with the very advanced devotees, Gurudev, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, then we can open our hearts and say so. Even you don't have to, but you can also. This is an exchange of love. Then there will be no compromise of the confidentiality. Because when Krishna reveals something to us, that's in confidence. You don't compromise that. But if you'll share it with his associate who's more confidential, even more confidential, then the integrity of that relationship is not compromised. So another example, Gopkumar. Gopkumar was speaking. He met with the Brahmin, Jana Sharma, and he was wondering, what katha will I tell him? And then finally he decided, well, let me just tell him about my own life. And Gopkumar spoke how he received mantra from his guru, and by remembering the mantra he gradually went through all the planets of the universe, planetary systems, up and up to Vaikuntha, and through Vaikuntha and Ayodhya and Dwarka, and finally how he arrived in Goloka Vrindavan. So here is the same situation. Also, I was very fortunate in my life. One day my Gurudev called me. Oh, come into his room and shut the door. And he told me about his childhood, how he was growing up in Bihar, how once one yogi, someone from his village, went to Assam and learned mantra and tantra and became a powerful yogi. And he was playing with his small school friends. And this yogi went like this, and all rupee notes were flying everywhere. And Gurudev was a child, and all the kids were running around trying to catch them. They were blowing in the wind. And they collected them, and they ran home to show their parents. Oh, mama, mama, look, look, look. And there was nothing there. Oh, how in his childhood, his father taught him bhakti to Lord Ramachandra. He used to sit for hours chanting the name of Sitaram and reading Ramcharitmanas and weeping. And even when he was left school and he finished his education and became a high-ranking police officer, but still every day he used to chant 64 rounds of Harinam, even during his government service. and he would weep. And sometimes he would have darshan of Lord Ram. And then some Gaudiya Vaishnavas came to his village. It was Param Pujapad Srila Bhakti Kamal Madhusudan Maharaj. That time he was Narottamananda. Yes. And he preached to him. And he was Bengali and didn't know Hindi, and Gurudev was Hindi speaking and didn't know Bengali. So they spoke to each other in English. Srila Gurudev said it was the shadow of future events was casting its shadow. That in the future he would travel all over the world and speak in English. And at that time, then he became in a quandary, in a dilemma. Oh, now I'm hearing about the sweetness of Radha and Krishna. I'm very, very attracted to Radha and Krishna. But what about my Lord Ramachandra? What will I do? So one day, he was chanting. And he saw a very beautiful golden chariot. And Ram and Lakshman were on the chariot. And they came. And Lord Ram said, oh, Krishna is my very self. He is my origin. So you have my blessing. Serve Radha and Krishna. I will be pleased. And then he decided to leave his home and go to take shelter at the lotus feet of our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. All of these things he told me. His life. Just one to one. So, this is a very great mercy of a Vaishnava. Because by this, our sanskar becomes deep, our shraddha becomes so strong. So, Jad Bharat told the king. And the king had mamata also because it was in his dynasty. So, now the king was very materially intelligent and mainly sattvic. So he heard the words of Jad Bharat, but he was not convinced. He had a faith that the words must be true, but he didn't understand how they are true. So humbly he posed questions. He said, Maharaj, you have said that this is not your journey, you are not tired, you are not carrying the palanquin. And this is the vision of one who is situated in Atma. In Gita, Sri Krishna said, Naiva kinchit karomi iti, chapter 5. A person who is situated in pure consciousness, whether they're seated or standing, walking, talking, eating, resting, or opening or closing their eyes, they know that only the senses of the body are interacting with their objects. But I, the self, I am doing nothing. So Jad Bharat has spoken in that way. But the king said, you are not tired. You say that you are not tired by carrying the palanquin. But this is a fact. If you carry it for a long time, you become tired. Just like me, I'm a warrior. When I go on the battlefield, I can fight for a few hours, but then I start to get tired. Right? So you also get tired. You're saying that you are not touched by these things, but it's a fact. That the soul also feels a tiredness. Just like if there's a pot, and inside the pot there's milk, and inside the milk there's rice. So if you light a fire, then the fire makes the pot become hot. The pot makes the milk become hot. And the milk cooks the rice. And the rice gets cooked. So in the same way, the senses, they're engaged with their objects, and then the pran gradually becomes exhausted, and then that experience is passed to the mind, and then the soul experiences the mind, so you become tired. And I'm tired, you're tired. We both take rest. The king said, you can say that, yes, I am not really the king, and you're not really the subject, but we cannot reject this vyavaharik, this worldly relative position. It cannot be rejected. We cannot say it's false. Because if you want to drink water, then you'll have to drink the water in a pot. You cannot bring the water in an imaginary pot. You actually have to get a real pot, go and fill it with water. Even you have to do that. So we cannot just reject our empirical experience as being illusory. Furthermore, you said, I get no benefit from punishing someone. But actually, you know, if a king punishes a mad person, he gets no benefit. But that's not true. Why? Because even though the mad person may not be changed, but it's the king's dharma to punish miscreants who commit crimes. And therefore, if the king performs his dharma without attachment, then the king gets purified by punishing the criminal. So even if the criminal doesn't change, it doesn't mean that there's no benefit to the king. So in this way, Maharaja Rahugan, he was an intelligent person, and he put forward some arguments. So, and they're reasonable arguments from the worldly perspective, and there may have been things that have crossed your mind also in this regard. How can you say Vaishnava is transcendental? Guru is transcendental. Vaishnavas are eating, I'm eating. Vaishnavas sleep, I sleep. Vaishnavas go to the toilet, I go to the toilet. So we are the same? Correct? Not correct. But it looks like that. And the king could not understand it. So, the question may come. The first time the king chastised Bharata Maharaj, he just ignored it. And the second time the king chastised Bharata Maharaj, then he gave an answer. So how did that take place? Because though he's free from mamta and ahamta related to the body, he has mamta to the Lord. But in his humility, he accepted some identification with the situation. Because out of mercy, he wanted to destroy the prarabdha karma of the king. By hearing this katha of Atma Tattva, your karmas become destroyed. This is why in the beginning, first thing I said to everyone, please hear very attentively. If you will hear it, you will become mukta, liberated. And the flow of karmas will be destroyed. So please hear very carefully. Bharata Maharaj very mercifully told the king, your example of the milk, the pot being heated by fire, and then the pot heating the milk, and then the milk heating the rice, being like the sense objects heating the body heating the pran heating the mind, and then the mind heats the soul. This is not applicable. Why is that? Because the sense objects and the senses and the pran, the body, the mind, they're all connected. But the Atma is not connected to anything. Atma is not connected to any of these things. But you identify with the mind, so you have this experience that you become tired. So, although my body may become tired, but I don't have any experience of being tired because I have no identification with the body. The relationship between Atma and Maya is the relationship between the horns of a rabbit. Horns and a rabbit. Have you seen a rabbit's horns? No? Because there's no relationship between horns and a rabbit. So the relationship between Atma and the material energy is actually nothing. Yet still, we identify so much. Why? Worldly desires. Maharaja Rahugan said to the king, a person who cannot discriminate between material happiness the value of material happiness and the value of transcendental happiness is not fit to hear the conclusions of Vedanta. You know, what's the first sutra of Vedanta? Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Ata, now. Atha, now. Ataha, therefore. Brahma Jigyasa, the desire to know about the supreme truth. Now means, now you have this human form of life, and now you have completed your study of Purva Mimamsa, that is Karma Kanda. And now you've gone to the Uttari Mimamsa. So Purva Mimamsa or Karma Kanda is the utilization of the Vedas to perform sacrifice to acquire worldly happiness. So everyone's trying to get worldly happiness by one method or another, right? And Karma Kanda is like the Rolls Royce of methods to get material happiness. So here everything else can be included in that. But because of all the general methods of sense gratification just result in misery. But if you follow the Vedas and perform Karma Kanda, you can go to heaven and enjoy there for some time, and then you'll fall down and come back to earth and be miserable again. Right? So even the Rolls Royce of methods to attain happiness are what? Completely futile. And result in misery. So Atato Brahma Jigyasa, now therefore, because you've understood that all methods to attain material happiness are completely futile and result in the opposite of what you want. Therefore, now we will inquire into Brahma. What is the eternal truth? What is the greatest thing? What is the ultimate benefit and auspiciousness for us? So a person who has not, if you like, completed their study of the nature of happiness, they have not graduated from the world of uncertainty that, well, just maybe there's a really nice situation in this world that I can enjoy. Right? They're actually not qualified to hear Vedanta. Because they can't understand it. They will not understand it. They don't even want to understand it. Judge Bharat spoke like this to the king. Because the king was doing his karma kanda things, and it was very strong words. But he gave mercy to the king. And he spoke this verse. So this is our verse for today. Everyone can chant. Chaitragya eta manaso vibhuti jivasya maya rasitasya vidya avidhita pitirohitasya shuddho vichaste avishuddhakartu. Okay. Professional. We try. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is Srila Vyasadev's own explanation of Vedanta Sutra. The explanation is expanded and illustrated most beautifully, with incomparable beauty. So here, let's look at the shape of this verse, spoken by Judge Bharat. He's saying, Shuddha. Shuddha means pure. What is pure Shuddha? Atma. Soul, Atma, is always transcendental. That's you. You. Everyone. Soul is you. You don't have a soul, you have a body. You are the soul. You are pure, eternal, transcendental being. Shuddha. Shuddha. And that soul is also called Ketra Gya. That means, Gya means the knower of Chetra, the field. the knower of the field. So the field that the pure Jiva knows is all the evolutes of Prakriti, all the elements of this material world, earth, water, fire, air, ether, the tanmatras, the sense objects. Jadbard explained all the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, sound, touch, taste, smell, form. The 5 knowledge acquiring senses, the power to see, the power to hear, the power to speak, and so on. The 5 working senses, the power to grasp, the mobility, the movement of the legs, the working sense of the voice, the power to reproduce of the genital and to evacuate. So 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses. The mind, the intelligence, the ego, these are all the Ketra. And the Jiva is distinct from them, and he's the witness, he's seeing them. So, Shuddha, Chekada, Eita means these, Manaso Vibhuti. Manaso Vibhuti, Vibhuti means various wonderful things, called your thoughts. The Manasa Vibhuti means in your mind there's a lot going on, right? A lot going on. We are thinking, I am male, I am female, I am 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, I am American, Indian, Russian, whatever. All these thoughts. I was born in this place, I went to this school, these are my friends, these are my qualifications, these are my political views, these are my metaphysical views. This is the Manaso Vibhuti. So many. Just ideas, churning in the mind. Not only that, but the feelings of happiness and distress, feelings of identity and possessiveness for worldly objects. This is all part of the field, and we think about, we contemplate it in the mind. So, Ketaga Eta with Manaso Vibhuti, then Vichaste. Vichaste means this Shuddha Ketagya. Vichaste means while seeing. He's seeing all of these things. He's seeing what? Manaso Vibhuti. Jivasya. Jivasya means of the living entity. Mayaya Rachitasya Nitya. All these movements of the mind, all these thoughts and feelings, our pride, our anxiety, our attachments, everything going on in the mind, this is Maya Rachitasya. It is made of material energy. It does not belong to us. It has nothing to do with us. Maya Rachita. It's made of material energy, and it's Nitya. Nitya means, in this sense, Anadi. It has no beginning. And Nitya means Anugata. It's just going on in a chain reaction. Now this is really very deep point. Try to just enter into this for a few moments. The flow of thoughts and ideas in the mind is the sanskars, Anadi sanskars, impressions of karmic activities that go back to a time without beginning. So, in any situation, we always try to find the culprit, right? We always want to know who the culprit is. And that's why we think this person's good, this person's bad, and so on. We make judgments. We make judgments about everyone because we try to find who's responsible and who is the culprit. So, but the reason a person is acting in a particular way, what? It's a prarabdha karma coming into their samskars, coming into the mind from the previous life. Right? So he's still guilty. Right? Because even though he was forced to act in this way by the past life sanskars, it was a reaction from what he did before. Right? So he's still a culprit. However, that sanskar from what he did before was a reaction from another sanskar, and another one, and another one, and another one. And it goes back. And So who's ultimately to blame? The sanskars are anadi, they have no beginning. And therefore, that which has no beginning has no material cause. Understand? So there's no one to blame. There's no culprit. Just stop it. Stop blaming people. Stop finding culprits. Seeing good and bad here, and everyone is a jiva. But they're in a flow of karmas. So there's some discrimination which is done in vyavaharic sense, because we have to do that, because you cannot bring the water in a pot made in your mind. Right? But so we have to deal with people in a certain way. But in our heart, we should be situated in Atma Tattva, knowledge of the self. In our case and in the case of others also. And this is why when the Kali Maharaj took a club and was breaking the legs of Dharma the bull, Parikshit Maharaj came and said, "Oh, Dharma the bull." Actually, he didn't say Dharma the bull then. He just approached the bull and he said, "Who has done this to you?" And Dharma the bull said, "I cannot blame anyone. I cannot find the culprit." Then Parikshit Maharaj said, "I know who you are. You must be Dharma the bull." Dharmo bravisi dharmagya dharmosi brasharupadrik. Why? Because you've answered me according to the principle that the destination which is meant for the perpetrator of a crime is also meant for the person who identifies him. In other words, by acting in false ego and committing the pap or sins in this world, you go down. But by identifying, saying, "You're the bad guy," you also go down. Because you're acting on the false ego platform and you're not seeing your soul or his soul. You see? So it's like a Ferris wheel. Is that what you call it in America, Ferris wheel? Yeah? So you might be on the top and he may be on the bottom, but you're both on the same Ferris wheel. Alright, so what happens? Then you're on the bottom and he's on the top. Like that. So this is Vedanta. This Vedanta should not be spoken to anyone with worldly desires. Someone who's not become exhausted and indifferent and disgusted with the worldly activities. Doing activities in this, I'm going to make a nice situation for me and my family and extended family and society and everything. And so we'll all be comfortable and live happily ever after. Someone has that mentality. Even if they hear, they cannot hear. So, Chetragya Eta Manaso Vibhuti Jivasya means of the Jiva. Now, Mayeta Ratitasya. Actually, these vrittis of the mind, all these thoughts, don't belong to the soul. So here the word Jiva means of the living entity. The implication is this: there's an Atma, and when an Atma identifies with the body, then he's called a Jiva. A living, because the body is not a living entity. And an Atma, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam, one living entity is food for another. Doesn't mean that the souls eat each other, right? The living entities, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. The living entities pray for each other. So a Jiva is a combination of a soul with a body. Now bodies and souls, they don't combine. So what it means here, Maya Ratitasya, means that Maya makes the Upadhi. Upadhi. This Upadhi is a very important word. Upadhi means a designation. Upadhi means a designation. The example is given. If you have a crystal, the crystal is clear. And if you hold a red rose next to the crystal, you'll see red colors in the crystal. Now the rose, the quality of the rose is red. And the quality of the crystal is clear. But you can see red in the crystal. This red does not belong to the crystal. So this is called adhyas. Adhyas means superimposition. There is a superimposition of the red, the color of red, in the crystal. And now that red has become upadhi, a designation. So there is adhyas of upadhi, that is superimposition of a designation. So you are a pure, eternal, transcendental being, a part and parcel of God, but in your consciousness there is superimposition of a upadhi. That upadhi is your mind. This mind does not belong to you any more than the red color belongs to the crystal. But now, by the power of Maya, Jivasya Maya Rahitasya Nitya, there is the superimposition of the vrittis, all the movements of the mind coming from time without beginning, that is adhyas, superimposed on your consciousness. Though these qualities have nothing whatsoever. You're not black, white, young, old, male, female, nothing. None of these things. So, now these qualities, avirhitaha kwapi tiroitas. Avirhitaha means they appear, kwapi sometimes, and tiroita means they disappear. Cha means and. So these qualities appear and disappear. That means when you are awake, this superimposition of designations in your consciousness appears when you're awake, and it also appears when you're dreaming. But when you go into deep sleep, it disappears. And in deep sleep, you have like a liberated experience, similar to a liberated experience every night when you go into deep sleep. That's why if you don't sleep properly at night, if you have a restless sleep and you don't go into deep sleep, you don't feel rested. Because when you go into deep sleep, all those upadhis go away, and then your soul becomes refreshed. You wake up the next morning and you feel like you can go on, right? You know, that's one kind of torture when a prisoner goes to sleep and they're watching, and then they're doing rapid eye movement, but when they're about to go into deep sleep, they wake them up. So they let them sleep, but they never let them go into deep sleep. What happens? You become completely insane. You start hallucinating and you go mad. You see? So every night you have to have a little breather from this, the appearance of these mental qualities. So here Jagbharati is explaining, Avihita kwapi turoitascha shudo vichaste, of the pure transcendental jiva. He's seeing all this. He's seeing all the movements of the mind, and he sees them appearing while he's awake, while he's asleep, and then he also sees them disappear in deep sleep. Deep sleep is not unconscious, it's just being conscious of nothing. Right? But you're still conscious. Then, here vishuddha kartuhu. Here, certainly, avishuddha kartuhu. Kartuhu means of the kartri, of the doer. So the doer here is the ego. That means that is part of the mind, that is a part of the chitta, the ego here. And it's called avishuddha. Now this point is very important to understand. Please, again, pay attention very, very carefully. Why is the psychological body, the subtle body made of chitta, ahankar, ego, mind and intelligence, why is it called avishuddha kartri? An impure actor. Because it is maya rahitasya, it is made of maya, therefore it is by nature founded in the Bhagavad Vimukha. Bhagavad Vimukha means turned away from God. It is indifferent to God. That is the very nature of the mind. So, as long as you are on, as they say, the mental platform, as long as you identify with your mind, as long as you are thinking about this and that, you will remain indifferent to God. Don't care, actually. Don't care. Turned away from God, unconscious of God, indifferent to God, not interested in God. We may show a kind of interest, a conventional interest. It's a talking point, but really, we have pritagva drisha. That means a sense of being separate from God. So, Hya Vishuddha Kartu means of the mind which by its very ontological nature, it's a metaphysical category which doesn't do bhakti. Understand that? And this is why we have to hear from a transcendental source. Because the pure Vaishnavas, they are not indifferent to God. They are fixed on God. They have darshan of Krishna at every moment. And they transmit transcendental sound. And if we hear with a surface mood and a submissive mood, it will pierce through the coverings of that mind which is averse to God. And it will go into our soul. And the impression will come, I must act as a soul. I will act by the dictation of the words of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, my spiritual master, the pure devotees and the scriptures, and I will not follow my mind, because it's a Vishuddha Karta, Avishuddha Karta. It's an impure actor and only does impure things and only thinks impure thoughts. It is a complete darkness. Mana param karanam amananti samsara chakram parivati edyat. The Avanti Brahmin, he said, the main cause of bondage is just the mind. And the mind, the attachment to the mind guarantees our movement in the samsara chakra, birth after birth after birth. So, Rahugan Maharaj, he was hearing all these things. But still, he did not clearly understand. So Bharata Maharaja said, Rahuganaitat tapasa na jati na chedaya na nirvapanad grihadva na chandasanaiva jaladni surya bina mahatpada rajobhishekam. Very, very important verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Rahuganaitat tapasa na jati. O Rahugan Maharaj, understand this, that this realization of Atma Tattva and the realization of Paramatma Tattva, God who is residing in our heart, and the realization of the Supreme Lord Bhagavan, who is beyond this world, this cannot be understood only by thinking about it. It cannot be understood tapasana jati by even if you do austerities, fasting for so many days. You cannot understand. Nache jaya, by performing 5 yagyas, you will not understand. Nirva, by taking sannyas, you cannot understand. Nirvapanat grihadva. Okay, then I'll be grihastha, maybe I understand. No, even by being grihastha, you cannot understand. Na chandasa, not by reciting mantras of the Vedas. That means being a brahmachari, staying in the ashram of Guru and learning to recite the hymns of the Vedas. So you cannot know this by being a brahmachari or a grihastha or a sannyasi or a vanaprastha, or by doing austerities, or by jalagni surya, means you cannot understand it by immersing yourself in freezing cold water in the winter. Some yogis do that. Or in the hot sun, surrounding yourself by a ring of, they get cow dung and they put it in a ring and they set fire to it and they sit there meditating in the middle of summer. So people do extreme things to overcome bodily identification. That's an extreme way of trying to overcome bodily identification. Like in Christianity, sometimes they do self-flagellation, right, for the mortification of the flesh. So it's the same thing. But Bharata Maharaja said, all of these things, they don't work. What works? Bina mahatpada rajobhishekam. When you take abhishek, that means a shower. You bathe yourself from head to toe in the foot dust of a pure devotee. Then you'll understand. Why? Because the soul is Krishna's eternal servant. Unless we connect with Krishna through the service of Guru and Vaishnavas, unless we become situated in our position, how will we realize our position? So here, to take bath in the foot dust of a Vaishnava, this is not like an easy thing. No one can follow a Vaishnava around and then take the dust from their footprints and put it in a can and sell it. Everyone, Vaishnava foot dust. Only $108 a can. Take it home, take a shower in it, you'll understand everything about Srimad Bhagavatam. I read it in the 5th canto. That's not what it means. Vaishnavas are transcendental, their foot dust is transcendental. We cannot even see their foot dust. It is aprakrita, supernatural. So it means when, by our body, mind and words, we render devotional service in the anugatya, under the guidance of a pure devotee. How they're doing sadhana, we try to do sadhana like that. How they're serving their deities, we try to serve like that. We hear very deeply and try to immerse ourselves in the current of their conception. That is called the vichardhara. Their stream of divine thoughts, we try to immerse ourselves in that completely. And what is their mission, their desire, their manobhishta, their innermost heart's desire? We try to serve that. This is what it means. Mahat pada rajobhishekam, to take a shower in the foot dust of pure Vaishnavas. And then all these things are revealed. Yasha deve parabhakti yatha deve tathagaro saiti katayata hyata prakashanti mahatmana. All the secrets of the Vedas are revealed in the heart of that person who is, as he's devoted to Supreme Lord, not less, has such love and devotion to his spiritual master also. Then the mysteries of the Vedas are revealed. So, gradually hearing the teachings of Bharata Maharaja Rahugan, he became enlightened and a perfect soul. This history is so deep and so beautiful. There are many points here. So, just to conclude, I want to discuss 2 points, 2 teachings from this history. First of all, generally people say that Bharata Maharaj, he renounced everything, went to the forest, then he fell down and became attached and became a deer, but then gradually he became purified again. Wrong. Fail. That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. Yesterday we mentioned that there's one type of nyai, one type of logic. This is a test who was listening yesterday. What's that nyai called? Tivra. Don't look at your notes. Tivranjan, okay. That's 50% of it. Okay, lochan if you like. But nayan is usually used. It's the same thing, lochan, nayan. Okay, then you've got it 75%. Tivranjana nayana dhan. Dan means giving. Tivranjan nayana dan nyay. That means the logic of applying an astringent ointment to cure the eye. That means that if you cannot see clearly, but the Ayurvedic doctor gives you an ointment, but this ointment is very astringent and it stings like anything. And you go, ow! And tears are coming down your face. And then after some time, the pain wears off and you look and 20/20 vision. You can read the smallest letter on the optometrist's card on the wall. Eyes are perfect now, like this. So this is the logic of applying a very astringent ointment to the eye. So in the same way, because Bharata Maharaj was in the stage of bhav, when he was crying for the Lord was crying for him. Yayatamam prapadyante tanstataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna said, I reciprocate with everyone. So when Bharata Maharaj was crying for the Lord, you must know, the Lord was crying for him. And he wanted to bring him very quickly to his lotus feet and make him perfect. So for that, he had to give the Tiranjanayana Dhyan. He gave something painful to him. So that deer was not his parabdha karma, it was swarabdha karma. It was a beautiful application of an abhas of his past karma, which was applied by the Lord like a sharp ointment that threw him into a state of extreme repentance. He was crying. And that accelerated his bhakti. So we see, Krishna speaks about this Tivanjan Nayana Danyai to the gopis of Vrindavan. He did a similar thing to them, you know, in Rasa Leela. It was worse. When Jagbharat found himself fallen from being the emperor of the planet Earth, to becoming a small furry mammal. He was criticizing himself. It was a big disaster. But that's nothing compared to when Krishna disappeared from Rasa Leela. How sharp it was. How painful it was. The gopis were burning in the fire of separation. They became mad, talking to the trees, talking to the flowers. Please help me, where is Krishna? They began to imitate his pastimes. And they became so absorbed in remembering Krishna, they actually became black. Their complexion became blackish. Krishna was hiding in the bushes and watching. He had never seen such madness of love before. So when Krishna reappeared, he said, Naham tu sakyo bhajato pijantun bhajamamisham manuvritti vrittaye yathadano labdadane vishaste tatschintayanan nibrito naveda. He said, oh my dear Sakhis, because the gopi said, what kind of lover are you? Can you explain? Some lovers, they reciprocate. Whatever love they're given, they reciprocate. Some reciprocate with those whether they give them love or not. And others, they never reciprocate whether they're loved or not. What type are you, Krishna? So Krishna was smiling. Oh, you want me to incriminate myself with my own words? Gopis have set a trap for him. So Krishna, Naham tu Sakyo. Sakyo is, oh my dear Sakhis, Naham tu. I am not any of those categories. Then why did you disappear? Bhajatopi jantun. When persons serve me, then bhajam amisham anuvritti vrittaye. I sometimes don't reciprocate with them. Krishna is saying, sometimes I don't reciprocate. Why? To impel their devotional service. This is really important to understand. It's very important. Because you may think, oh, so many years, I've been doing so much service, I'm not feeling any reciprocation. Krishna said, I don't reciprocate to impel the devotional service of the devotee. Why? Because when the devotee is trying and trying and trying, but he still has an artist even, and no reciprocation is coming, finally he begins to cry, oh Krishna, I am trying to serve you again and again, but I have nothing in return. I have no realization at all. And he criticizes himself. And when the devotee feels repentant and very humble and very worthless, that mood, by that mood, he becomes free from all worldly desires and detached from all sense gratification. You see, you cannot feel worthless and feel like a failure and criticize yourself and enjoy the senses at the same time. You can't do it. Because the tendency for sense enjoyment comes along with the pride. I am the enjoyer of this world. I should taste this and that. But when the devotee feels it was all for nothing. I have no realization at all. Alas, alas. Krishna, I am totally useless. Then that humility, in that humility, he becomes detached from all sense objects, and his utkanta, his eagerness, increases and increases. So Krishna said, that's why I don't reciprocate. That means, did he break his promise in Gita? No, he's not reciprocating for that devotee, is his reciprocation. So that's what happened to Bharata Maharaja. he was actually. Not really to Bharata Maharaj. He was very, very advanced. That's for the devotees who have a artist, and they're advancing up, going up to Bhav. And so, but he was already in Bhav. Krishna wanted to make him come into the state of prem. So for those who are sadhaks and they're trying to attain Bhav, that's applicable to them. But gopis are not in that category. So when Krishna said this, they were not so pleased. So then Krishna said, Bhajama Ishan Anuvritti Vrittaye Yatha Dano Labda Dane Vinashte That's Chintanam Nibritona Veda means, and for those who have some perfection, also sometimes I don't reciprocate with them. Why? Because they are like a poor person who somehow or other got a great treasure, very valuable jewels, and then he lost the jewels. And then when he loses the jewels, he goes mad, and he cannot think, he's only thinking, my jewels, all the time. So, for those who have attained realization, Krishna also hides himself from them. So Bharata Maharaj was in that state because he was seeing the Lord in his heart. And then he lost it, he became attached to the diya, he couldn't go in samadhi anymore, he was just pretending to be in samadhi, but really he was thinking, where's my baby deer? So he got the treasure and then he lost it, and then when he realized that he's lost it, then he became mad thinking about it again and again. Like that. So to impel the devotion for those who are trying to become perfect, to have realization, and for those who have realization. But still gopis, even, they are not in that category, they are beyond that also. There are some gopis who are sadhana siddha, and by Krishna's disappearing, then they became. But for Radhika, Lalita, Vishaka and others, then actually Krishna's good activities and his bad activities, it doesn't change their love. Their love is increasing by itself, whether Krishna is good or bad. It has its own life. Vikridati prakriya, Rupa Goswami said. Gopis' love has its own life. Krishna is bad to them, he's good to them, makes no difference. It's always going. So then Krishna, he realized, oh, actually I did wrong. So he said, Na pariyam niravajya samyudyam swasadu kutyam vibudaya shadva yamabajan durjaya gaya sankla samrishatadva pratiyatu sadhana. My dear gopis, actually I can never repay you. Even if I became your servant for the life of Lord Brahma. Because you have broken all the shackles of dharma and household life only for me. So I cannot repay you. Just your compensation is your own love. What is the reward for prem? Those who have prem don't want any reward, but the reward for prem is having the prem. Because it's anandamoy. It is the highest joy. So, in this way, see the life of Bharata Maharaj, not that he fell down and became attached, but rather, see Krishna was reciprocating by not reciprocating. That he gave him this difficult experience to increase his love and to bring him to the spiritual sky, because Supreme Lord was feeling separation from him. So this whole pastime is embodiment of pure love. Another teaching here, when his deer wandered away, we saw that Bharata Maharaj became quite mad. He was looking for the deer everywhere. He said, oh moon, the rays of the moon, you're burning me. If you would show me where my deer is, then your rays would become like cooling nectar. Oh Mother Earth, what austerities did you perform? That you have the touch of the feet of my baby deer. So he became mad in separation. So is it true? Is it true that the Mother Earth did austerities to get touched by the feet of that deer? It's not true. So in this we also learn something very rasik, very important. Many persons, they read Srimad Bhagavatam, even they read and they hear Rasalila, even they explain Rasalila, and they say that the gopis know that Krishna is God. Because when Krishna told gopis, now you've seen the beauty of the forest, it's probably a good idea that you go home. Go back to your homes, serve your families. Gopis were so devastated. They said to Krishna, Maivam bibohati bhavan gaditam risangsang sanchaja sarva vishayan tava padamulam bhakta bhajasya durvagramacha jasman devo yatari purusho bhajate mumuksham Yad patyupatta suridam anubriti anga strinam swadharma iti dhamma vidatva yuktam astva metad upadesha pade tvaishe presto bhavanstavdumitan kila bandhu atman. O Krishna, how can you speak such cruel heart-breaking words to us when we left all sense gratification only to serve your lotus feet? We heard that Bhagavan, Lord Narayan, he reciprocates with those who serve him. What to speak of those who serve him in order to attain perfection and serve him in the spiritual world. Even those who are mumukshu, those who serve him just to get liberated and enter into Brahman. You know, some persons, they serve God to get mukti. The Supreme Lord even reciprocates with them. Muktim dadati kai chitsmana bhakti yogam. Shukadeva Goswami said, if someone worships the Lord for mukti, very easily he gives that, but bhakti very rarely. So gopis are saying, we heard from that Gargacharya said, Tasmin nandat madod yamte narayana samo gunai. When he did your astrological chart, he told your father, oh Nanda Maharaj, your son will have qualities just like Lord Narayan. So if Lord Narayan even reciprocates with those who want liberation, that means, oh my Lord, please give me this position where I can have the chance to never serve you for all eternity. Right? He reciprocates with them even. So what to speak of those who are serving him in order to serve him forever? So if you have qualities like Lord Narayan, then we've just come here to serve you. So you should reciprocate with us. Yat patya patya suridam monobriti. And you told us it's our dharma to serve our husbands. But actually the service to the husband is actually service to Paramatma. It is to God in the heart. And therefore, because Gargacharya said you have qualities like Lord Narayan, therefore you are the friend of everyone, you are in the heart of everyone, you have those qualities. So you should accept us, you should reciprocate with us, and our duty is not to serve the body of the husband, which is burnt ash in the cremation ground, but to serve the Paramatma, and that is you. So we should, if you really want us to follow your instruction, then we'll serve you. And the very fact, Upadesh Twaishe, you have given us instruction means you are our guru. So every living entity, it's their duty to serve their guru before anyone else, before society, before family, before God. Patamantu gurum pujan tatastaiva mamachanam kuravam siddhim avapnoti hyanyata nishvalapavet. See, Krishna said, before you serve me, serve your guru first. If you do that, you'll definitely become perfect. But if you try to serve me before your guru, then it's uncertain. So, in this way, gopis, Krishna was speaking Purva Mimamsa, Karma Kanda, and gopis replied with Vedanta, Uttara Mimamsa. Yeah, actually.
But he told them to go home and they didn't.
Yeah, but he said, if you're instructing us, so you're guru, so we have to serve you first. We'll go home later. They said. So, in this way, gopis are very clever, using all types of Vedanta and Siddhanta to cut the arguments of Krishna. Krishna can't reply. So, but gopis are saying, you are presto bhavantanubitam kilabando atman. You are the friend of every living entity. You are in the heart. You are the dear one. You are the Paramatma. So many people, they say that, oh, see, gopis know that Krishna is God. Big problem, confirmed. That's it, alarm bells are going off. Big problem. Because if you think that Krishna is God, then what will happen? You will be banned from Goloka Vrindavan. You cannot go there. Gopir anugatti bina aishwarya gyane bajle nahi pai brajendananda. You serve Krishna, but you cannot attain the son of Nanda Maharaj in Braj if you have aishwarya gyan, knowledge of his opulence. Therefore, gopi anugatti, you follow the gopis. Then if you start thinking the gopis have knowledge of opulence, now you're really in trouble. Because there's no way. Right? There's no way. So what is the meaning here? The history of Bharata Maharaja helps us understand. It is this, that first of all, whenever gopis say that Krishna is God, this is called yachak vritti. Yachak vritti means the method of a beggar, a yachak. There's a beggar on the street and he sees a man walk past. He says, "Oh, Your Majesty," he's a regular guy, but he's "Sir, Your Royal Highness, please, you are a great generous person," and he flatters him so that he can get what he wants. So in the same way, when Krishna rejects the gopis or in separation, the gopis will say anything. They're desperate, they'll use any argument to somehow get Krishna to come back. So that is called yachak vritti. Then another thing here is that when someone feels separation, because gopis are standing face to face with Krishna, but because he told them to go home, they're experiencing bhavi viraha. Bhavi viraha means you are together, but you're feeling the pain of imminent, impending separation to come due to that rejection. So gopis, they're feeling separation even before Krishna and crying and speaking these words. And in the madness of their separation, then they see something. What is that? When Bharata Maharaj said, "O earth, what austerities have you performed to get the touch of the feet of this deer?" This glory of the deer is not actually existent. It's not true. So glory means mahima. Mahima means glory. And existent means vidyaman. Vidyaman mahima means existing glories. And avidyaman mahima means non-existing glories. So when Bharata Maharaj glorified the deer by saying Mother Earth had done austerities to get the touch of her feet, this is an example of avidyaman mahima, non-existent glories which appeared in his heart due to the pain of intense love in separation. So when the person feels the intense pain of love in separation and they become mad, they see qualities in their beloved that don't exist. That's natural. So he was seeing those qualities in the deer. So in the same way, when gopis are in separation, sometimes then they say, "Oh Krishna, you are in the heart of everyone. Lord Brahma prayed for you to come here to this world to save the world." That is not because they have Aishwarya Gyan, but because from a Madhurya point of view, just like Bharata Maharaj became mad and saw avidyaman mahima in the deer, so the gopis in the madness of separation are seeing from the perspective of sweetness avidyaman mahima in Krishna. It just so happens that in truth, that mahima is vidyaman. Right? That's just a coincidence. That's a coincidence. But it's symptomatic of the intensity of their love. We should see it in that way. So in this way there are many teachings, profound teachings in this pastime of Bharata Maharaj. Another important teaching here is that Bharata Maharaj thought of a deer at the time of death, and what happened? Became a deer. So just as that works negatively, if you are remembering Supreme Lord at the time of death, then you will attain a body like the Supreme Lord. And that is why in Raganuga Bhakti, we don't focus so much on Krishna. Right? Because those who are worshipping Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha with a four-armed form, they focus on worshipping Lord Narayan and they attain a four-armed form and they go to Vaikuntha. But in Raganuga Bhakti, what is our process? Krishnam smaram janam chasya prastam nija samihitam tat tat katar chaschaso kuryadvasam brajay sada. We remember Krishna, never just Krishna. Krishna along with an associate, and especially the associate that we want to attain a position like them. Tat tat katar tasjaso, and we remain absorbed in the harikatha of the loving relationship between Krishna and that associate, with the emphasis on the associate. So if you do this every day of your life, then what will happen? At the last moment of your life, you'll remember that associate, and just as Bharata Maharaja easily and effortlessly became a deer, you will easily and effortlessly become Radha Dasi, a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. If you are chanting Harinam and crying from the core of your heart, Sri Rupa Manjari Karachida Pada Padma Gostenda Nandana Bujapita Mastakaya Hamodata Kanaka Gaura Padara Vindam Sambahanani Sanakai Stavakim Karishye. Oh Rupa Manjari, when will that day come when Radha and Krishna have been dancing together in Rasa Leela, and now Radhika has become tired? She's perspiring, her hair has become loose, and Krishna sat down and Radhika has unceremoniously plopped her head in Krishna's lap. Chandravali wouldn't do that. She's more respectful. But Krishna, Radhika has so much mamata for he's mine. I can just. And Krishna is caressing the hair of Radhika. And Rupa Manjari, you will be massaging the lotus feet of Radhika. When will that day come? When I will be there as Rati Manjari and seeing what beautiful service you're rendering, and by your eyes you will call me, and you put the lotus feet of Radhika in my lap, and I'll massage and hold the lotus feet of Radhika to my heart, overwhelmed with prem, because Radhika is Kinkuri Vatsala. As Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala, Radhika is Kinkuri Vatsala. She has so much nourishing love, like a parental love, to her maidservants, her manjaris. When will I hold her feet on my heart, smell the fragrance of her lotus feet, kiss her lotus feet? And Rupa Manjari will take up a chamara and fan Srimati Radhika to dry her beads of perspiration. So if a devotee is chanting Harinaman, absorbed in the sweetness of Radha Krishna Nikunja Seva every day, then what will happen? Then they must attain their Swarup Siddhi, spiritual form, and enter into the eternal service of Radha and Krishna. Nitai Gaur Premanande! So, we'll sing one kirtan and then serve prasadam. It's late now, so I'll not take any questions. On another day, I'll make a shorter class and we can take some questions. Hare Krishna.
Sadhu.
Bharata Maharaja.
Yeah, well, eventually. We'll tell everybody it's hard. I'll tell everybody it's hard.
cherries. I'll have to rescue it.
Oh, don't hide in the kitchen. The kirtan is over here. Everyone, make a circle. Color. Yes, you. Hiding in the temple room. Come over here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda's kirtan. There will be no survivors. Bale Vrindavan Lal ki jai, Hare Saniwal ki jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hari Hari Bol to everyone at home, my pronounce. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ki Jai Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pare Stora Sarasmad Rupanuga Charivan Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai Srila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pare Stora Sarasmad Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai Srila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pare Stora Sarasmad Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaja Ki Jai Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pare Stora Sarasmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Prastham Vishnuvaraya Stora Samad Bhakti Pragan Kesi Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Stansa Thakur Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Mahabhaga Bhavashi Gokshodas Bhakti Maharaj Ki Jai Satung Goswami Satyam Thakur Bhakti Nod Ki Jai Sri Rupanuga Gauri Gurva Ki Jai Prem Se Gosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Bhajamandala Ketaman Gaur Mandal Ki Jai Mankar Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sri Radha Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Rantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Sakala Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Maresrasa Survesha Bhanu Nandini Srimati Radharani Ki Jai Jai Gaura Premanande Vrindaye Tulasi Devyar Priyaye Kesavasya Char Krishna Bhakti Pradedevidi Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyascha Nittyanam Padanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo